We're efforting to get Tim Burchett, Tennessee rep, on the phone. I wonder if he's rocking the beard. I haven't seen him lately. He looks like a different person when he rocks the beard. Am I right?
I told you it was Monday.
It might be with you. Was it this Friday? Oh, my God. So we're efforting to get him on. Talk about, obviously, what's happening with the Epstein stuff. This is not going anywhere. And I told you guys this the other day. It's creeped into pop culture now. And once it gets into pop culture, it gets out of the hands of the president in the way that he's able to control the news cycle the way that he wants it controlled. And I don't think that's, going to change anytime soon. He may be able to reel in some of his base from, basically saying they're weaklings the other day and those kind of things. But not right now. No, this is not one of those situations where that control is going to come. And now he's like, all right, well, we'll release some. We're going to go to the, tell the DOJ to go release some, get some of that stuff unsealed, and then we'll see what happens.
The grand jury records in question belong not to the Justice Department, but to the court. To get them unsealed, prosecutors will have to go to a judge with a firm legal rationale. Even though Jeffrey Epstein has been dead for 6 years, there's a broader principle the court will have to consider. Grand jury secrecy is extremely important to the system. It ensures witnesses and victims can testify truthfully about crimes without fearing reprisals.
And do you believe that? That they would do anything like this, where it would potentially, if Trump was in any of these documents, even if there was no there, but it could still put him in a position where it could be definitely questionable. I don't know. And now you're hearing that, FBI agents were told, flag anything with Trump on it. Why? To get rid of it, to bury it. And of course, this whole thing with the, now with this letter, which who cares? It was pre him, everybody finding out what a wackadoo he was and sick, disgusting pig. So, or, at least before he was charged. I'm sure people had some ideas, and they had a falling out the next year over a piece of property that Trump wanted and he wanted, and Trump got it over Epstein, and apparently that's when they had their falling out. This is something that is going to be a thorn in his side, for sure, for a while. And a lot of people are questioning it. And let me tell you something. For those of you out there who love Trump, and you know who you are, right? Because we hear from you every day because you're never Trumper. No. When politicians, you give them your vote, that's when you have to hold them absolutely accountable to ask the questions. Why aren't there more people in jail? Why aren't there more people that paid a price? Why aren't there more people that were exposed in this outside of the useless Prince Andrew? There's nothing wrong with asking that. You've got to be open and honest with yourself and many of you have. Many of who I know, you support Trump wholeheartedly, but you've sent me stuff saying I voted for him, but I do have some questions, on how the way that this thing broke down and the way that he came out and said it was all fake and it was a hoax and all of those things. And this was definitely an error on his part. But he's planting seeds. Of course he is. Again, I don't know what's in any of these things. But we'd be foolish not to ask the questions about this nasty, disgusting, vile situation and why more people didn't get prosecuted. How a guy who dropped out of college became a math teacher at one of the most prestigious schools, who then went to Bear Stearns, who had hundreds of millions and billions of dollars and got Wexler, the guy that has, Victoria's Secrets and all this stuff, to get him to sign over power of attorney to all of his stuff. Those are real questions that all of us should be asking on top of everything else. Because we really don't know. We don't know. So, yeah, we should. And you should be able to question people without the fear of like, well, my tribe doesn't like me anymore. No, all that should matter is truth. Period. And I look now, and based on the way that the DOJ has acted, based on Bondi and Kash Patel, there's either more there, or they concocted a hoax that they rode to millions of dollars and into the White House and lied to everybody along the way. And if you care about the fact that, these young women were attacked, these young women had horrific things done to them, if you care about that, as I'm told that, this is a big deal, we should care about the kids, then yeah, we should. Regardless of when it was, there needs to be payback. I mean, they're still paying out people and sentencing people for the heinous crimes of the church. And some of these people are in their 50s, and it happened to them when they were young kids. So we should want to hold the powerful accountable. I thought that's the thing. And if that's not what it's about, it's just about my team winning for something. That's nobody wants that. And I don't think any of you listening want that. I don't know if Trump was involved. I've said I don't think Trump and Clinton were ever really involved with any young kids. No. Could they have dated 20-year-olds? Well, Trump did. Trump was dating a 20-year-old at one time when I think he was like 54 or something, 50. That's not illegal. We were joking the other day. If you didn't hear Shane Gillis talking about, what's his name, Bill Belichick, talking about him dating a 24-year-old, that's not a problem. So, but we should ask the questions, and Trump should be the person leading the charge to say, this is what the deep state looks like. If it can buy everybody off to the point of quiet. Or have you guys thought about this? What if there is stuff that happened and the likes of the Mossad have certain things that they can hold over our leaders to get them to act in a certain way, Israel, to make sure that they get the stuff they need? You'd want to know that, wouldn't you? Of course you would. It's accountability. I think that's what people want. And when they feel like they're not getting accountability and they're getting in the runaround, you're going to get stuff like this. And I don't think this is going to go away the way that he wants. And several of you have already texted me and said, I don't know if I trust the DOJ. I don't know if I trust a lot of this. What'd you say earlier, Bell? They're going to use the grand jury thing as a way to say, see, we couldn't get it over.
I tried to get it out there, man, but this stupid judge, these judges had too much power.
This isn't, going to happen. And you want to hold people accountable. If this was anybody else, you'd want them to be held accountable. And that's the way you have to look at this. Let's figure it out. And again, I have no idea if Trump's involved. I don't think he is. I do find the way that he's acted kind of strange, starting to put it on Comey and all of these people. And they've gone in and done stuff, and now it's a giant hoax and all of that stuff. Again, you threw the unforced air out there.
I would like to remind people that this started when he was the president, because Epstein was put in jail and died while Donald Trump was the president. This was not a Biden-Obama era thing. So and that's one side of the split screen. Then on the other side of the split screen, you have Democrats who are very concerned about the policies coming out of this administration, right? But see the Epstein files conspiracy, if you will, as an opportunity to hammer home this message about the fact that, Donald Trump has tried to convince you that he's one of them, but it seems from his bills that he's passing to what he's talking about from the White House and the Epstein files that he only cares about his very rich and powerful friends. So that is the split screen in the conversation I think we're going to see going forward. But if the White House would just, be a little bit more forthcoming and just keep it 100, we likely would not have seen this reporting from the Wall Street Journal.
I think she's right there. And when somebody said, wouldn't they have brought this out if the Democrats knew? Well, first of all, there's a lot of their people wrapped up inside of this as well that potentially could cause hell. They're probably not going to bring it out. And the other thing is, this became an issue for the Republicans because they made it an issue. They took something that was deep net to QAnon kind of conspiracy, right? Because remember, it was the ping pong pizza, Comet ping pong pizza and all. And they took it as a part, and then they moved it over, and then it became more mainstream with the Alex Joneses, and it got bigger. And then it was on several different big podcasts, brought up these things when they had people on. And that's when it kind of caught fire. Democrats weren't doing this. They weren't. Probably because they didn't believe it or didn't care to. But yeah, I think everybody's thought is if they would have had something, they would have brought it out. If they would have known about it. And if the people are that powerful, think about this. What's scarier? Be honest. That this government's trying to cover something up potentially? Or the fact that there are people outside of the laws that we have, for the most part, completely untouchable, truly a deep state, who with the snap of a finger can get things done and over with. That even includes whoever's in power at this point in time. Ooh, I like that, dude. Dun, 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 dun. Ray asks, why aren't the victims speaking up? Actually, the victims' attorneys have spoken up, several of them. Part of the problem is some of them, a vast majority of them, signed a settlement and deal where they got some money, and that was the thing, is you can't talk about anything or else we'll come after you. So if they were brought in to have a testimony in front of Congress or whatever, that thing goes out the window because it's the government. But they're not asking for that. Why not bring her up? That's the thing I think Burchett would like to do. What would find out about him?
They screwed up in his office. He's actually on a plane flying back to Knoxville, so we're going to reschedule for next week.
Oh, see what happens? One time I give Bell something to do. One time. Not 2 times. Not 3 times. One time.
Hey, I had it scheduled. This is why you don't trust politicians.
Yeah, I know. So this will be interesting. Like I said, if you followed any of the story and you dug into it, the quieting of the likes of Vicky Ward, the quieting of the likes of, Roebuck, we played her stuff, Amy, yesterday, and several others who, including Condé Nast, like arguably the most powerful publisher in the day, where he killed stories because they basically, they left bullets around his house and a dead cat after they had spoken to him that said, don't do something. He recognized that's not one of those things where I'm going to sue you.
I'll take the free ammo, but don't be killing a cat in my
Don't be
life.
killing a cat. Don't do that. Nowadays, you wouldn't do that because the backlash would be too big. It would be. Coming up, more stuff that's not this. Talk a little bit about, get the latest on what's going on in Los Angeles. You guys haven't heard. 3 sheriff officers, we think, are dead. A bomb or some sort of explosive went off. What happened? They're trying to put everything together. Was it an act of violence or terrorism? Was it an oops moment? We'll have more on that. Bunch of other things to get to as well. If you're missing the show, shame on you. Grab the podcast. You can also text us directly. What's the text number?
615-737-WWTN. Or if you're numerically challenged, just 9986.
There you go. You can just do that. It's Chet Benson, Joe Super Talk 987.
Arrests have been made in the I-24 shooting that left a 22-year-old man dead. And the latest on the explosion that has killed L.A. Sheriff's deputies in East L.A. So we'll have those stories again for you. 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
A lot of you chiming in about all of this chaos. And again, I want you guys, here's my thing on this show. What I do, everybody says, you're a never Trump or you're this. I'm a libertarian more than anything else. And I see all the points of view. I see everything. I want to. I want Trump to succeed. I don't want him to fail. I think he's done a lot of good things. I think he's been a renegade at times. And sometimes things haven't gone as great as you planned, but that's being a human. But above all, I want what's best for America, and I want them to do the right thing. And we should all want that. Every one of us. And the goal, we have fun here because pretty much that's kind of our jam. But I want everybody to see that we can have conversations. We can disagree about stuff. We should challenge our beliefs every single day. If you're not challenging your beliefs in some way, shape, or form, and I'm not talking about your belief in God or anything. I'm whatever, I'm talking about the politics of the world. The things that you believe, that you hold dear. If you're not willing to challenge them every once in a while, or the minute that you hear something that you disagree with, that you throw a fit or call somebody a name, that's not good. It isn't. We're better than that. We're maturer than that. That's stuff that's based in the world of feelings. And we're not much of a feelings kind of folk here. Although we do have a lot of fun. I'm going to tell you that right now. No, I'm not doing Fat Friday. Okay, maybe a little bit later. I got a new thing about that. We'll do it. Jeez, Bell's always asking, when are we going to do fat stuff? When are you going to make fun of fat people, Chad? I'm like, I don't
Look, I know it gets us ratings, and shaming fat people does it.
Goodness me. This was interesting. So it's a perfect example of a dude that just seems like be the most genuine guy, arguably in sports. It's him and Tim Tebow. Scotty Scheffler, golfer. He's playing in the British Open. He's the best golfer in the world. Not since Tiger have we seen anybody like this. And he's just this kind of nice, good old boy kind of guy from, kind of goofy. His swing is all over the place. His feet move everywhere, but he's dominant. And he was asked this week about, golf, because he's the most competitive person everybody says in the world. But he got to thinking about it as he's playing in the British Open.
I think it's kind of funny. I think, I think I said something after the Byron this year about it feels like you work your whole life to celebrate winning a tournament for a few minutes. It only lasts a few minutes, that kind of euphoric feeling. And to win the Byron Nelson Championship at home, I literally worked my entire life to become good at golf, to have an opportunity to win that tournament. And you win it, you celebrate, get to hug my family, my sister's there. It's such an amazing moment. And then it's like, okay, now what are we going to eat for dinner?
That's the way he looks at stuff. And the guys, everybody said he is so competitive. He's one of those guys that he'll do something, and if you beat him every time, he's going to do everything he can to get as good. Doesn't matter if it's arm wrestling, whatever it is. But then I thought this was awesome when he was talking about who he is.
It's just one of those deals. I love the challenge. I love being able to play this game for a living. It's one of the greatest joys of my life, but does it fill the deepest, wants and desires of my heart? Absolutely not. I love playing golf. I love being able to compete. I love living out my dreams. I love being a father. I love being able to take care of my son. I love being able to provide for my family out here playing golf. And, every day when I wake up early to go put in the work, my wife thanks me for going out and working so hard. And when I get home, I try and thank her every day for taking care of our son. It's just, that's why I talk about families being my priority, because it really is. I'm blessed to be able to come out here and play golf, but if my golf ever started affecting my home life, or it ever affected the relationship I have with my wife or with my son, that's going to be the last day that I play out here for a living. This is not the be-all, end-all. This is not the most important thing in my life. And that's why I wrestle with, why is this so important to me? Because, I would much rather be a great father than I would be a great golfer. That at the end of the day, that's what's more important to me.
Amen. That right there is, the best thing my mother's ever said to me is, because if you guys don't know anything about my family, I always joke, we're way closer than we used to be, but I call my mom Mary. We are not a close people. We're not a huggy folk. We've never been that way. But my mom, the best thing my mom's ever said to me is, she goes, for all your faults, Chad, you're a pretty damn good dad. I thought, well, that's about as good as it's going to get. And that's the truth right there. It's the most important thing. That's the most important thing. Being a great father, being a great friend, being a great husband, brother, son, wife, whatever it is. That's the most important thing. People. All right, coming up, we got we're going to talk a little bit about immigration. Could they be leaning towards figuring something out for some amnesty? We'll talk a little bit about that. Got some other fun stuff as well, including arguably the craziest, wackiest, are you kidding me moment you will ever see. For all the lunacy we've seen at city council meetings, this one, kids, may have taken the cake. Well, that's right ahead. Chad Benson, Super Talk 997. Da, 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 da. This is crazy. This is the weirdest. I mean, we see a lot of crazy stuff. Right? When, city council meetings, people yell, they get up there, their books, and look at this. This is in our schools and this. This is a guy named Mel Witherspoon. It's Pennsylvania. He is recanting a story of his childhood. So his brother was killed, and we're going to pick it up from there. And it just gets, you're like, what are you talking about, dude?
I'm 17. I'm involved with a gang, the largest gang in Newark, New Jersey. I organized. We went over Jersey City looking for the person. Well, when we got there, we didn't realize it was a family. And when you talk Jersey City and you talk family, you're talking the mafia.
So, brother's shot by the mafia. He goes over there. It's like, we're coming, man. We're coming to get you. Oh, hold on here. This is not that kind of, you guys are not that kind of gang. This isn't about colors. You guys are mafia. All right. He continues. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe I broke my machine. Did I really break my machine? Are you kidding me? This is what we're working with.
At the time of my graduation from high school, I had to leave Newark, New Jersey. I had to leave the mom and the dad, or I wouldn't be here today. So I'm living that side. It was 2 days in Nebraska where I went to school.
So he bounces, goes to Nebraska, playing school. So remember, his brother's shot. He's dead. He goes over. Family. Oh, my God, it's the mafia. I can't mess with these guys. I'm bouncing out of here. But they're like, hey, we owe you one.
You can go buy a gun. No paper necessary. I played football and basketball. And a tackle. Good guy, nice guy. And the guys came to my room and we got high. They left. I had the clip in my gun. Nick came in my room. I said, Nick, I can blow your head off. He said, go ahead. And I did.
So he just told the entire city council and everybody, hey, I could kill you if I wanted to. And the guy said, go ahead. And he does it. So they're looking around going, all right, wait, is this real? It's like, did you just confess to a murder?
I shot him in the head point blank, this close. I stayed in jail. One night, I never went to court. I went back to basketball. How did that happen? Because I had a family member, one of my uncles. He was involved with one of the families. That family made a call from Newark to New York to Omaha to Nebraska where I was at, and I was out the next day.
So the mafia got him out, and he never spent another day in jail, was never tried or anything. And this was based on the fact that they were listening to a meeting in response to a 43-year-old who was in a shooting. And he recanted it. I mean, he recalled the story as if, let me tell you about my story. No. And now they don't know what to do with the guy, and they're going back to find out, did this really happen? How did he not stand trial? What were you thinking? Of all of the thinking things, what were you thinking? Because that wasn't it. And if you think our city council people are bad, How many of them have shot somebody and then confessed to it? We have a immigration problem, for those of you not keeping score. And there's no doubt, and I said it yesterday, Trump is trying to figure out what he can do. Not amnesty, but there is no doubt that Trump wants to figure out a way to keep certain people here. And he's floated it on a few times as kind of a test to see how the base would react. How do you react to the potential of farm workers, hotel workers, et cetera, et cetera? How would you react to that? Maybe. No, they're good people. They shouldn't go. Some of this. Can we figure something out? He's trying to figure this out because the base, let's get rid of everybody because I see the text. Everybody. Let's get rid of everybody. And as we talked about, the numbers have switched as far as, remember, if you support Trump, right, or you support, no matter, I don't care who you support, left, right, whatever. If you're a hardcore supporter of that political group, you have to go outside of there because you're not big enough to get across the line for your candidate. You need help. Independents, disgruntled Democrats or Republicans, whatever it is. And right now, independents and even some Republicans are saying, well, we got to figure something out. We can't do it like this. And so, of course, there's no chance. We're never going to give amnesty. And it's come up because there's a couple people floating some bills out there.
Congressman White Salazar introduced legislation that would get some illegal immigrants in the country path to citizenship. 10 Republicans signed on to what she's calling the Dignity Act. I'm curious what the White House's position is on the legislation and if the president would veto this bill if it made it to its desk.
From my understanding, the White House nor the president has actually read through this legislation. The president has made it very clear he will not support amnesty for illegal aliens in any way.
That word amnesty is important. The word amnesty. So amnesty is the free pass. Your free pass, you know what? We're wiping the plate clean. You're good. That's it. Right? The slate's clean. You're here. It's amnesty. It's a forgiving. And here's a pathway to citizenship. That is not what they're talking about. What Trump has floated out there is how can we get people to stay where it's not amnesty, but at the same time, we're not going to send them home.
Well, Stuart, thanks for having me. Let's be clear. This is not amnesty. And as Caroline Leavitt said, the administration has not read the bill. And we agree. We don't want amnesty. That's why what we are saying is that there needs to be an earned legal status, not citizenship, not even a green card. The objective is to get people out of the shadows. They have to affirmatively apply for the program. They have to pay back taxes. They have to pay a fine. They cannot collect any government benefits. They cannot commit a crime. They need to be working or going to school while on this 7-year program. And the objective is to actually fix our broken immigration system.
Which, for all the stuff we talk about Trump and the chaos at times around and the craziness because he's made for TV, the cutting through and doing something that is legacy building, because he cares about legacy. If you don't think so, I mean, he wants the Nobel Prize. And if he can get peace between these countries, damn Skippy, he deserves it. I don't think they'll give it to him, but he still deserves it. But he looks at legacy. He looks at the Supreme Court's a perfect example of all the things he's done. That right there may be the number one thing in his legacy. Finding a real way to fix immigration, in particular, the God knows how many people here who, they broke the law, they came here. If they've been here for X amount of years, they've caused no crimes. Maybe their kids have been born here. Maybe they have, they've started a business. They've even paid taxes, but they're not Tren de Agua. They're not MS-13. They're not those people that need to be caught and sent back. They add something to the country, and in particular to donors for a lot of these people. So how do you go about not giving them amnesty, but giving them a pathway to stay and be productive, come out of the shadows. And yes, for a lot of them that don't pay taxes, pay taxes.
President Trump was absolutely correct about the need to secure our border. He has effectively done that. There is more work to do. We need to deport criminal aliens. We need to deport those who have violated deportation orders. But with 20 million people living in the shadows and people engaged in our economy, people working in agriculture, people working in construction, people working in hospitality, the reality is, and the president has said this, you're not rounding everybody up and kicking them out. You have to deal with reality. And so this broken system that has failed the American people for 40 years, Stuart, I'm 38 years old. It hasn't been reformed since I was born.
That's Mike Lawler. He is obviously a conservative politician. Here's my thing, though, Mike. And I did something last night where we did a video. If you have a chance, go check out our videos. At Chad Benson Show is the YouTube. Like and subscribe. Appreciate that. Republicans are to blame for this, as is the Democrats. And the Republican Party is to blame as much as anybody else because not only they turned a blind eye. It was great for their donors, cheap labor, et cetera, but you allowed people to come here and do nothing to deter them. Not just Biden, but years and years of rampant illegal immigration, years and years of people coming here and for the most part being told, well, we're not really going to do anything to you, so don't worry about it. And allowing them, that's on us. What a failure. And every party at some point in time in the last 40 years has had an opportunity to fix this, but they haven't. And there was a reason for that. And now it's got to the point where I think you have somebody who wants to do that. And I think Trump is going to try, which will piss some people off in the base. But this is not amnesty. This is not that, hey, you're now on a pathway to citizenship. It is you've got an opportunity to stay, keep your nose clean, become a part of the fabric, live your life, come out of the shadows, pay your taxes, pay the penalties, get your kids in school, and go from there. It's not the amnesty that when people talk about how can they stay, everybody always thinks, well, they're just going to do blanket amnesty just like Reagan did. No, it's not that. And I think that there's more of a push for it because I think people are also looking at the numbers. And like we've talked about, how the sausage is made is making people who, if you could snap your fingers and everybody be gone tomorrow, that's one thing, but that's not the way it works. And you're seeing people and you're seeing the real life implications of this, and it's making people uncomfortable. And it's making them angry, and they didn't think it was going to be like this. And we know picture, video worth 1,000 million words. And the influence of that can't be understated, no doubt. Coming up, he was fearless, and he's fearless no more. We'll talk a little bit about that. If you missed any of the show, grab the podcast, Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. A lot of you chiming in about immigration. We're not going to get everybody out of here. I know you get the usual people like, get everybody out of here. Everybody, just throw them out. It's never happening. I figured that's what you sound like in my head.
Just empty the whole country, and then we'll let people back in one at a time, and we'll make sure they're citizens.
Yeah, this is just never going to happen. It isn't. And we have allowed industries to flourish using cheap labor. And don't think that cheap labor is free labor. It's slave labor. They get paid. We've went over it on numerous occasions, how much they get paid. Farm workers and stuff like that. It's not like, the difference is you don't have to pay taxes, right? You don't have to cover their health care costs. You don't have to pay into their, any of the stuff that the normal business owner would have to pay to. It's just under the table. So this whole it's slave labor and they're only getting $1 a day or else, that doesn't happen. Try that. Try to go hire somebody, if you ever had, on the side of the road and, like one of those, and see if, hey, will you work for $2 an hour? No, that's not happening. But there's got to be something, because we have to come to the realization that the thought of getting rid of everybody, what would that do to our GDP at first? Trump he's aware He's aware that that would hurt in ways that isn't good, especially in certain areas that voted for him. Secondly, he also looks, let's be honest for a second, we're not reproducing. If you take away births by foreign, whether they're here legally or illegally, and you compare them to our birth rate, to natural citizens, we're not having kids. We're down near that South Korea, Japan kind of level. So that's also something. The one thing that we have over all of these other nations, people want to come here. And a lot of people who want to come here, I think everybody thinks that, yeah, I've always said we need to figure out who's here for a booty call. They don't even want to be a citizen or have a residence. They want to be here for a certain amount of time, finite, right? They're not putting a ring on it. They're not. And others are like my grandfather that came here. America, he wasn't born here, but he died here. And he was as American as you get. Speaking English was the most important thing. He knew more about America than 99% of Americans who probably couldn't pass a test when it came to the... Have you ever seen Americans do the citizen test and they just...
You just bomb out.
Yeah. The big time. So...
Who was George Washington? The guy on the nickel?
Obviously, freed the slaves. Hello. Played center for the Globetrotters. I don't think you guys get it. Didn't he invent peanuts? Like, that's the... I mean, it's sad. It's sad. And there are people that are willing to die to come here because they believe in what this country offers. Doesn't mean you give them citizenship. No. Pay a fine. Go to the back of the line. You're not voting. You're paying your taxes. Don't cause any trouble. It's what's going to happen. It is. Somebody bet me. I didn't know your name. Somebody bet me about the Nobel Peace Prize because Trump wants it. And I said, they don't like him, and it's a popularity contest. It would be hard not to give it to him if he could help solve the, Israel-Hamas conflict and Ukraine and that. But, man, it is a popularity contest. And he's not popular amongst the academics, which makes him even better to a lot of us because they're so obnoxious and snooty. Coming up, hour number 3 of the program. We have no guest this time, just like we didn't have last hour. Thank you, Bell. I'm kidding, Bell. It's the Chad Benson Show. We're talking to Benson.